Greetings, everyone, and welcome to Community Chats. My name is Anthony Saracusa, and I serve as the Director of Community Engagement here at the University of Mississippi. And I am joined today by one of our student staff members in the Office of Community Engagement, Mr. Will Corley, who is going to assist us with the interview today. He has been an incredible supporter of Community Chats behind the scenes, editing and preparing these interviews for air. And so we're so lucky to have him on the air today, going through our questions with some of our guests. As you know, if you're a regular viewer of Community Chats, you can find us usually once a week, sometimes twice a week. We come to you on Facebook, but we also have a YouTube channel and a Spotify podcast. So you can follow us in all of those venues. This project is pretty simple. We want to raise up and elevate the voices of people who are working hard to make a positive difference in the Lafayette Oxford University community. Are you one of those people? Should we interview you? Let us know. You can reach us at engaged@olemiss.edu or just send us a direct message on Facebook. Finally, this is a joint initiative with our partners at LOFT, Lafayette Oxford Foundation for Tomorrow. Want to encourage you all to go to the LOFT website, take a look at who they're working with, because there is an incredible array of community partners who are working hard to make an incredible difference in our community. Without further ado, our guests for today are Miss Senora Logan and Dr. Patrick Perry, staff leaders of the Luckyday program here at the University of Mississippi, and some of my most favorite colleagues, Patrick and Senora. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It's good to be here.
Yep. Thanks for having us. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. All right, y'all, let's jump right into it. Either of you can go first, but we'd love to hear from each of you briefly. Tell us a little bit about where did you grow up and how did you end up here in Lafayette, Oxford?
I'll let you go first, Miss Senora.
Okay. Well, hello, everyone. My name is Senora Miller Logan, and I was born in Georgia, but I moved to Mississippi when I was 2 years old and grew up in Meridian, Mississippi, which is about 3 hours south of Oxford in East Central Mississippi. Went to public school, went to a public community college before transferring out of state to continue my education at a small liberal arts college in Anderson, Indiana, Anderson University, before I returned back to Mississippi. And then upon getting married, I relocated to Oxford and have been with the University of Mississippi LOU community since 2001.
And I'm Patrick Perry. I'm originally from Memphis, Tennessee. I grew up, lived in Memphis all my life, thought I'd spend my whole life in Memphis, Tennessee. I graduated from Memphis State University with my first degree in geography with a focus in environmental and earth science. And the university changed names. I was there so long, to the University of Memphis, where I earned my master's in education and then my doctorate in higher education. A long educational journey. But as I finished that, a friend of mine that had worked at the university, that attended the University of Mississippi, told me about Luckyday, and I learned about it and was fortunate enough to submit an application and come to the University of Mississippi and meet all the people here and learn about the position and all the great opportunities. And here I am 12 and a half years later. So
that's awesome. What an awesome story. So could each of you share a little bit about how you came to your positions? Dr. Perry, I know you just mentioned it a little bit, but tell us about your positions at Luckyday and how you came to be in those positions.
Okay. I was, when I started at the university in 2001, I started in the Office of Admissions in the operations department. And after 2 years working as an admissions specialist, I was promoted to the coordinator of undergraduate admissions. And during that time, I worked with several students and with helping them to gain access to the university, to be able to get that all important admission letter to Ole Miss. And so I would often wonder, how did the student fare? What happened next? And one day I heard about the Luckyday Scholarship Program. And even though the scholarship had been in existence for a few years, the foundation that funds the scholarship decided to create a companion program that went along with the scholarship. And I heard about the opportunity at that time to apply. And it was a dream come true for me. And applied, was able to be hired in the position. And since 2005, I have been working as part of the Luckyday programs. And it has just been a great opportunity to get the answers to the question that I asked that one day in the admissions office. What do the students do next? And how do they thrive and survive in this environment? What challenges do they meet? What can I do to help them overcome additional challenges and things that they may face coming into a new environment? And so it has been very rewarding and fulfilling to be a part of this program.
And I mentioned kind of the pathway that I had to the University of Mississippi. My background had been in financial aid and scholarships, and then with the honors program at the University of Memphis. And I also worked with adult students in a program called University College. Kind of different types of positions as I went. One of the things that was really a delight when I came to the University of Mississippi, and it kind of the adjustment period was significant for me in terms of change, was that I had been working with students from afar in terms of more of an administrative role. When I came here, it was the ability to work with students individually and to see what Senora was talking about in terms of their transformation when they get to college, and that's just so joyful. So.
Well, y'all have kind of started us down this road a little bit, but take us a little bit more in depth with the mission of the Luckyday program. What is the program and what's the goal?
If you want, Senora, I can go with this one, and then you can come in. Well, we have 4 connected values for the program, and they are scholarship, community, service, and leadership. And so with that, thinking about scholarship in a way in which it's there is a scholarship, but it's thinking about education, it's thinking about life, it's thinking about how these things interplay and the learning that takes place, not only in the classroom, but related to everything that we do day to day in building community and connecting with others. So I just wanted to define scholarship in a little more depth. With the community building, we work with scholars to provide resources and structure and opportunity for them to engage with one another to build a community of Luckyday scholars. The students are in our building, and so they're able to interact with one another. And our students are from all over the state of Mississippi. And so that interaction is really great to see, and that building of community and activities and what that looks like, during and before the pandemic. So I think that's something that should be said, because I know that that building of community has changed a lot. So in looking at that, the creativity to do that is something that's neat to see. In terms of service, one of the things that we've connected with the Office of Community Engagement and partnering with you is, the students getting involved in community engagement and connecting with service. They have a service requirement of 10 hours per semester, to a deeper level of service and what that means. Not just a one-time service opportunity, but something that may continue throughout their career in college and beyond. And so, and maybe back to their home community. And then leadership, and that can be defined in so many different ways. But we work to have servant leaders, and we to educate students on the fact that you don't have to be the person right out front or the person in that position structurally. You can lead from any place in the organization and within, and so to empower students to be able to do that is neat to see, and we do that. So I think that's great.
So with all the service and everything that goes on with Luckyday, I'm sure that you have a great team working with you throughout everything. So can you share with us a little bit about that team? Who else is in the Luckyday program, getting all of this awesome work done?
Well, we are a small office of three. Um, I always say we are a triangle. We have Dr. Perry, who is our director. I serve as assistant director of the program, and then we also have a project coordinator who work with us in assisting our students that come in, not only for the freshman year, but we do try to engage our students throughout their 4 years at the university. Luckyday is a 4-year scholarship, and so we do work to be engaged with them throughout their entire time here at the university.
Fantastic.
I will add, can I add one thing?
Yeah, please go ahead, Ms. Senora.
We also have an awesome group of student leaders who assist us in doing this process. I mean, because they're 3 full-time staff, we do have excellent students who come in with great natural and untapped leadership potential and drive. And so we utilize those students as well to assist us in putting on programming and doing things that can help not only their cohort thrive and survive, but also the program as well, the entire program.
That's one of those things about Luckyday that's so wonderful is the level of student involvement and leadership. To actually work with other students, that kind of peer leadership is so phenomenal. Are there any specific kinds of areas of focus that y'all want to highlight for Luckyday that you're really looking at this year, next year, or in the coming years? You know, Patrick, you spoke to those kind of 4 core values, but are there any kinds of particular ways that you're focused over the next couple years with your students that you want to highlight?
Yeah, I'll start this and Sonora chime in and add to it. One of the things that we have focused on that has involved your office too is the community engagement aspect. And I did mention that in terms of how our students connect with the community. And I think one of the things is to define what those things are, define what it means to be a volunteer, what it means to be a servant leader, what it means to be engaged in the community. And I think that's where that education component can really help students understand the value in that connection and how that helps all of us when you do that. So setting up those structures and then also the student leadership aspect of that in not only service, but in various things related to the program. And Senora and Barbara and myself have engaged in those conversations where, okay, what types of specific group leadership type themes and are there and that students want to get involved in. We have an advisory council, we have the peer leaders, we have some up and coming things where we'll have some groups that will be more marketing, recruitment, working with social media. We have an anti-racism and equity task force. And so groups that are specifically working on things and us supporting them where they're developing as leaders. And I think that's really important in terms of where we're going. And those are opportunities. And then having those professional development opportunities too, where students can talk about that with their colleagues, fellow student colleagues, maybe at the Pulse conference that the university provides, maybe at other conferences that are outside the university where they talk about what they've experienced leadership wise, and then also to give them the opportunities to develop skills that they don't have so that they become better leaders.
And I do also believe that the community aspect of our program, we are really working to grow and develop that even deeper, to keep our students even engaged beyond graduation, our scholars engaged beyond graduation, and to a point of wanting to give back. I know this year we're looking to have an alumni panel where we'll have alumni with different in different aspects of the professional world come back and talk to our students, our freshmen and sophomores, and just have a conversation with them about the process beyond higher education. Because I always say, this is a temporary space. This is not permanent. And, we want them to be prepared to step out of here and with all the tools necessary to succeed in their employment, but also in whatever community they decide to go into. And so having our alumni come back and speak to those topics will greatly benefit our students. And so that is something else that we are working to build.
That's awesome. That's so exciting to see everything coming to fruition with this program. So what are some of your greatest challenges that you face either now in our pandemic or before that, out of the pandemic situation?
Definitely with the pandemic, the community aspect has been a challenge to replicate. In the past, we started with a week-long retreat with just the scholars, having the opportunity to unite with each other, build relationships with each other, and also with our student leaders as well. We set up the retreat, but it is basically led during the week by our student leaders. And so having the student leaders have that opportunity to develop those relationships of trust, and even the relationship between scholar to scholar in the cohort. So we each peer leader has a small group. And so we had to redesign how that looked with their small group activities, increasing those smaller group activities so students can get together with one another and have some in-person interaction and trying to join, maybe a couple of small groups together in order to build those community aspects as much as we can, getting on Zoom with them, having those conversations with them. And as a part of our program, we have what we call plan sessions with our freshman personal leadership and navigation sessions with them. And so that gives them an opportunity to have one-on-ones with the professional staff, and then their small group activities give them the opportunity to build community with their peer staff, with the peer student staff. And so that has like we said, we had to get creative with how that look, and increasing the amount of contact with those small groups than we have had in the past, because we were able to have larger group activities throughout the year and the semester. And so that has been one of our greatest challenges with the pandemic, because that is something, the community aspect is something that we really focus on and strive for and value. And so we've had to come up with different ways in order to allow that to happen. Halloween, we had a pumpkin painting contest in our commons as a way to, just to get people face to face. But those who didn't feel comfortable doing that, we had karaoke over Zoom, so they could also have an opportunity to feel engaged, even if they didn't feel comfortable coming out in person.
I hate that I missed that karaoke over Zoom. That sounds fun. It sounds like a trip, y'all.
Yeah.
Well, obviously, like some of these challenges, right, have been specific to COVID, but there's ongoing challenges running these kind of programs. But we get up, we do the work, right, in part because we find some joint satisfaction out of this too, personally and professionally. So I just want to give you all the opportunity to speak to that. What are some of the great rewards you've experienced by being involved with Luckyday?
I'll let you go first, Patrick.
The word transformation always comes to mind, and I think it happens to all of us throughout our lifetime. But the movement from high school to college, that transformational period, and seeing students coming in and developing independence and moving through struggles, but developing that ability to lead and the ability to participate. The timing is different for everyone, and so it is so fascinating and enjoyable to see how that transpires. And then seeing a couple of our students a few weeks ago graduate with their doctorates in public health, Kwanzaa Boone and Addison Mickens, and others. There's so many others to and then go, wow, I remember when they were here. I remember when they were leaders in the program, and here they are, doctors of public health, and it just softened your heart.
Yeah. And I would agree with Dr. Perry. That is very rewarding. Is coming in. It's one student that Dr. Perry and I we would never forget. They moved in Saturday, Sunday, Monday we were ready to begin the retreat, and her peer leader brought her to my office, and she said, "I want to go home." And so we were in shock, and so we brought in another student who'd had those kind of issues when she first came to college and was a senior at the time, and we had her talk to her and kind of guide her throughout that week, and we just told her, can you please, school is not going on anywhere right now, can you just please finish the week of the retreat? And she finished all 4 years and graduated in the communication sciences and disorders, and has come back to speak to our sophomore class and talk to them about that experience there, how even though she believed that's really what she wanted to do at the time, how we gently and just carefully just communicated with her that the opportunity that could be missed, just to think a little bit more about that, a little bit more about it. And those kind of moments are just, I mean, we have so many of them. Like I said, I've been with Luckyday for 16 years. I can start with my first class in 2005 on, on up to the last class that graduated with with many, 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 many stories like that. And it was kind of funny. On Sunday, I was recognized as a hidden figure at the university for the work I've done at the university by Ole Miss Athletics and Ole Miss Women's Basketball. And right behind me was one of my Luckyday scholars from the first class I worked with. She had come just to enjoy the game with her family. And that whole moment, now I didn't, and I was surprised by the honor. So I didn't know I was getting it. I didn't know she was coming, but I talked to her about that, how, unexpectedly receiving this, but to have you here as one of my first scholars, to see you now. She has a doctorate in nursing in nursing practice, and just this family with 2 kids, and just, I say I have Luckyday grandchildren now, but just to see how they evolved and grow, not just the 4 years here, but even beyond that. And last year she referred students to us, and so that's something else we get in return from our alumni. They say, "Hey, Miss Senora, hey, Dr. Perry, we have an outstanding student we want you to consider." So they give back to us, and that is just such a wonderful feeling, and very rewarding. Even through the challenges, you have these moments when you get a thank you card from a student, when you have those moments that make the challenges seem smaller at the time. And so and I would had a thing I said, sometimes you go 2 steps forward and then you take 3 steps back, but it is always important to keep stepping. And that's what we tell our students, and that's also something as staff that we have to remember as well.
That's great. I love those full circle stories. I think it really speaks to, the community that you foster just within that program, not even to the larger community. So I love that. So if you had 1 minute to speak to the entire LOU community, what is your final message to them? What would you say?
Well, I would say one thing: the students who receive the Luckyday Scholarship are Mississippians. They are from this state, and moving to Oxford and becoming a part of the LOU community and surrounding areas is a great opportunity for them to continue the work the engagement that they have put into their home communities to make our state better, and to improve so many situations in our state, that has held us in different numbers, on the numbering chart. But for them, they have the passion and the drive to do the work, even as 18, 19-year-old students. And we would love the opportunity to partner with organizations and around the LOU community who would love to work with students who are eager and just engaged in community building.
I would echo that and just say that Frank Day, who's the founder of Lucky Day and provided the scholarships through his legacy. He was, what's life if you haven't given back, and that always sticks with our students. I believe it's something that echoes kind of the commitment that we hope our students will have with engaging in the community and being a part of that. So I think that's kind of the final message I will leave in terms of what we hope for and hopefully our students aspire to be.
Wow, what an amazing 30 minutes we have had with you all. Obviously, we've just scratched the surface of the incredible stories and impacts that you're making on our students, on our community here in LOU, and across the state of Mississippi with the Lucky Day program. We are so incredibly lucky to have you all as administrators in this program, working with our students, helping them to build lives of purpose, meaning, and professional success. So Ms. Senora and Dr. Perry, thank you for all the work that you do on Lucky Day and for being on Community Chats today.
Thank you so much. It's been a privilege and an honor.
Yep, great to be here.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's great to have you both. And to all of our viewers, listeners, please share this story. You know, there are folks across the state and in your networks, across the nation, who need to know about the work of the Lucky Day program. So please share this with your friends, like it, comment on this post. Let Ms. Senora and Dr. Perry know that you're so proud of the work they're doing for our students. We are so glad you joined us today for Community Chats. We hope that you are staying safe, but that also you are remaining engaged. Thanks again for tuning in. We'll see you next time on Community Chats.